It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
Making noises right when I'm trying to do stuff. Getting stuff going here, and I got a new microphone, so give me some feedback on the microphone, if it's working or not, and then I'll know if I should throw away this cord or keep this cord. Give me some feedback on the microphone. Oh, it sounds better already. It's working or not? All right, good. So, yeah, I can adjust a knob or two on this, but this is a real microphone and not the, whatever it is, the laptop microphone with all the fans running and everything. All right, so we'll throw the comments up on stage, and look at this. We've got Night Strike joining us this evening. Is he still here? Who knows? Why is this taking so long? There we go. Also got Woods out there. Good evening. Asked if anybody's got any topics for tonight. We're broadcasting live on the X. We are broadcasting on the Facebook, and what do you call that thing with the tubes? The YouTubes. So we go live and talk about guns in a actual live conversation, unlike some of the fake chats that are out there that don't go live and don't pay attention to the comments. So join us, be part of the conversation. I'm going to move my thing around here. There it is. So we have the 4x4 on the screen tonight. So a lot of topics we can talk about. I was thinking about the Saturday night specials, the NAAs. Those are two things. Those collections have been picked clean from YouTube. I don't know why YouTube had issues with them. They definitely didn't like the little 22 revolvers, a lot of different caliber revolvers, but the 22 short, what am I saying? The NAA mini revolvers. For some reason, YouTube just thrashed those. So there's very few of those videos and remaining. And that's frustrating because while I probably have the videos and the raw files that made the videos on hard drives, technically, I have no idea where they are. It would take me forever to go find them. So that sucks. That's another reason why we could talk about content creation, and we could talk about when you're creating content, where you want to back your stuff up. No platforms out here are permanent, although to some extent the content has the potential to be permanent if someone grabs it and runs with it, puts it on other platforms, does reaction videos to it, for example, other projects that use your content. You have the potential to not have your content be forgotten, but you can't expect the platform to just protect it for you. And in the long term, we're technically we're in a situation where there's not a lot of people that have left their content, to their descendants, let's say. It has happened for sure, but not often enough that it's something that's brought up very often. So obviously, right off the bat, we got a couple of topics we can start talking about. Tomorrow is 4th of July. As you're watching this live, who knows when you're watching this in recordings, but those of us that are live are probably getting prepared for tomorrow, unless you're communist, I guess. But not only is it the 4th of July, but it's also the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. So has some significance more than just a standard 4th of July, I'd say. So feel free to let us know, since we're live and we're not trying to sell you no 4th of July shit. Feel free to comment on what you're doing. If you got plans or what. I've got a dog here who doesn't like the fireworks at all, and I'm assuming tomorrow's going to be a lot of fireworks, so I'm trying to debate what to do with her. I've tried lots of different options with her. She just does not like any of them. There has not been an option that's worked. Kind of digging around on my desk here. I don't know if you're hearing that or not, but I started looking for something, and it turned into moving some clutter out of here. So we got Strapped out there saying howdy. Good evening. So we're live a little bit earlier than we would normally be. I like to do this show overnight, and for some people, probably people that shoot 9mm, this is overnight for them because it's is this 11 o'clock on the East Coast? 9, 10, 11, yeah. So it's only 8 o'clock out here, though. But normally I would start this show at like 10 p.m. I just figured I'd go live a little earlier today. See, kind of poking around with the time slot, see who's out there, see what kind of response we get. I'm not here to, I don't really like doing this show. I've been doing it since 2016. So I'm not a big fan of just saying stuff to say stuff. But on the other hand, you got to get the ball rolling. So I don't mind saying stuff here, but hopefully it'll turn into a show with some feedback and some comments here so that we have something to bounce off of. Blue to Green, is that the Blue to Green podcast here in Arizona? Right on. One of the best podcasts out there right now. So the comment is, though, can we shoot our squirt guns up in the air and yell tomorrow night to celebrate the 250th? I'm guessing there's probably people that would shoot blanks and junk up in the air, but as you know, probably not a great idea just because of the what do you want to say, like the optics of it. People that are looking from afar, how do I know you're shooting blanks, right? I know from experience that back when I was younger, we used to shoot blanks and stuff up into the air, and stuff meaning these bird bombs that you could shoot that would kind of just be a firework that would shoot out of a 12 gauge and make a noise, I don't know, 100 feet away or something. And they're for getting birds out of places, probably bats and things. They're like wildlife management. And you get those at gun shows, and they're super fun on the 4th of July. And we were doing them out in the nowhere, middle of nowhere, but still, sheriff or somebody stopped and said, quit it. And again, they don't know what you're shooting up in the air. So, I know what you're saying. I know your reason you asked, but kind of in good fit, is it kind of a tongue in cheek there? But yeah, great time to make some noise tomorrow for sure, right? Lots of better ways to do it than with the firearms. But yeah, if you haven't checked out the Blue to Green podcast, it's what are you? Let me just say ex-law enforcement, prior law enforcement, and now an advocate for medical and recreational marijuana, and really the communication between law enforcement and the various communities out here that are focused on either the medical side and the care or the recreational side and the transition from being a prohibited substance to as it's going more and more closer to unrestricted, is that the way to say it? But it's been reclassified or whatever, rescheduled, I guess, at the national level. A lot of that you can learn on their podcast. So definitely a good podcast to check out. I think I'm 2 behind right now. I haven't been listening to podcasts, but I'm looking forward to the last 2. Let's see. Woods is asking, is weeds or is Arizona weed legal state? Yeah. I forget for how long now, but it seems like for a long time it's been medical, and then whenever the wave of recreational happened, it happened. And I'd say it had transitioned fairly comfortably or fairly smoothly or peacefully, I guess is a better word, where a lot of people thought it was going to lead to, I don't know, chaos, I guess, like a lot of times when you end a prohibition. But let's see. So tomorrow it'll be, we'll have a different kind of prohibition, the prohibition on fireworks. And that's one that it's a tough one for me as a firearms guy. I'd like to say there should be no laws on fireworks because, right, freedom and all that. But obviously being dangerous or whatever, plus drinking. And it seems like, obviously on the 4th of July, but even just whatever the other holidays are where you shoot off fireworks, the New Year's, 4th of July, and I'm probably thinking of a couple of others where more people set them off. But then you got like weddings and just general celebrations. And if they were completely unregulated, people would be shooting them off whenever. You get into just drunks and, reckless behavior. And then the consequence of like the noise, right? It's going to be annoying and potentially visibly annoying. But then for like dogs and people with any issues to noise like that, it's just whatever the word is, it's not peaceful. So I can understand the regulations and stuff on it, but it's frustrating, especially when it gets to be Christmas or 4th of July. So I don't know. Is there some way to adapt the regulations where they, say it's regulated except for the 4th of July? And they kind of do that, I guess, with fireworks. But I mean, mainly I'm pissed because we don't get Roman candles, which are the best fireworks ever, and bottle rockets, which are basically the second best firework ever. And that means all we get is those mortars and whatever they're called, where you stick like 100 mortars together and charge $1,000 for it. And the people that buy them, I mean, I'm all for it. I like it, but my dog doesn't. And I can understand why people who have, issues or have dogs that have issues and stuff, cats and stuff that book. That's a whole nother issue. People that have cats outside and those cats book. But then again, what do you get off having your cats outside? Ozzy's out there. Welcome. So if you got gun topics, we'll definitely chat about them. I'm kind of ranting here. We've done 15 minutes and we've been on like 10 different topics, but all kind of adjacent to firearms at least. DJ's out there. Welcome. Let's see. Is weed the best example of moving the Overton window? I think that it's a good example. I don't know if it's the best example. I personally think a good example, or the better example at least, is the Mothers Against Drunk Driving and the designated driver and the campaigns that started. Was that in the 80s, I think? I don't know if it had anything to do with the DARE program or not. I'm going to look it up right now if I can do it while we're talking. But I think that's a bit more apt, or like a more better example, because it's applies to more people, because not that many people choose to do marijuana, right? That's one of the things I like about the marijuana movement, is it proves to people, even if they don't understand it, that just because you make something, if you remove the prohibition on something, it doesn't mean everybody's going to just do it. Like if you remove the prohibition on heroin, for example, I forget who said this a long time ago. Somebody said in a debate or in a conversation that I saw, so if they made heroin legal tomorrow, are you going to go do heroin? And everybody raised their hand, said no, or whatever. And of course, like, who's going to just start doing something that is bad for you just because it's legal? So and that's, I think, kind of the same thing, but I'm talking and typing here at the same time. Who started the MAD campaign? I kind of thought it might have been the sheriffs or something like that. Okay, so according to the robots, the campaign Mothers Against Drunk Driving was started in 1980 by Candace Lightner. Lightner founded MAD after her 13-year-old daughter was killed by a repeat drunk driver in California. The driver had a history of drunk driving offenses and was out on bail for yet another hit and run. And then he killed her daughter. At the time, the drunk driving was treated as a relatively minor offense. And I can remember, I think some of us are old enough to remember One for the Road. It was not a big deal. I can definitely remember people driving with beers. Not even a thing. Like, that's why there was cup holders, so you could put a beer there. And then people that were really drinkers would have a drink, like literally a drink. And I don't think it was a big deal. I think the police would tell you, like, go home, or like, you should know better. But it was sort of like, I don't know. I would say talking on the phone, but I think that's illegal now too. But for a while there, when you had a phone, they'd be like, come on, put your phone down. Anyway, treated as a minor offense, penalties were generally much lighter than today. MAD quickly grew into a nationwide grassroots organization focused on increasing the penalties for drunk driving, raising awareness of the dangers of impaired driving, supporting victims and their families, and then encouraging stronger laws. I don't like that part. Screw that part. But as long as you can do the other parts, I think that moves the Overton window. Once the world is aware of it, we're not assholes. So, once people are aware of an issue, people are going to act differently. I think that's the big takeaway. Anyway, it became this is all the robots still. MAD became one of the most influential public safety advocate organizations in the U.S. Its efforts are widely credited with helping raising the minimum age to 21. I didn't know that. I think that's lame, actually. Promote stricter DUI and tougher sentencing. Again, I think that's not necessary. I mean, I guess it's better than, oh yeah, you killed somebody, quit doing that. You need to send people to jail for killing people, obviously. But I think the awareness that, hey, what you're doing is not inconsequential, that's the real takeaway. So they say increase use of sobriety checkpoints. I don't know, because that doesn't happen anymore. I haven't seen a sobriety checkpoint, knock on wood, in a long time, and I don't want to see them anymore. Reduce alcohol-related traffic fatalities over the following decades, for sure. And again, I think that's what we're talking about, through public awareness, I think. It says, interestingly, she distanced herself. So there's some gossip. She said she believed the organization had shifted beyond its original mission of stopping drunk driving and had become more focused on broader alcohol, such as advocating lower legal blood alcohol limits and other alcohol regulations. So like a lot of things, right, that starts off good, it can get corrupted or off track or whatever. But I'm glad to hear that it just, I don't want to hear it. I'm not glad that how it started, but I'm encouraged that it wasn't a campaign, like a corporate campaign. It wasn't AstroTurf. It was literally grassroots. However, I don't want to disregard the marijuana. What'd you ask originally? Is the weed the best example? As far as like the recreational marijuana, I think that's an amazing example of the United States, right? A bunch of people with varied opinions on this, varied interest in this or not. Underlying, there's probably a lot of shared interest, because even if you don't care about the marijuana issue, chances are somebody in your circles do, or is, or whatever you want to say, or is affected by it. So it's not something that's completely universal, but it is a fairly common thread. And because it hits so many different people, I think that it's an example of just the way that the country can do positive movement, growth. I'd like to say growth, movement for sure, in an area that for a lot of people, I think they figured it was landlocked or stuck. Like it was never going to change. Like if anything, I remember during the 90s, right, all these new drugs kept getting invented and kids would be at raves, and I think it was raves in the 90s, right, doing like all these new synthetic drugs. And essentially, I think the war on drugs was just going to just be this endless cat and mouse game of like the chemists coming up with a slightly different version of MMDA or whatever it was called. And then the MDDM or whatever it was called. And then, them making it illegal after a while. You could buy them at truck stops or 7-Elevens and crap. And then it changed into fentanyl. And I mean, we could have a super long conversation on how the drug war has, evolved or changed or whatever. There's really good, what I guess they're interviews, or maybe you can call them podcasts, I guess, blogs. I guess they're podcasts really. But man, I'm thinking of a bunch of them that would be interesting to talk about. They have nothing to do with guns, I guess, but the way that the drug war has changed, I think affects or is a reflection or like a version of the war on guns. But it's definitely changed a lot. I don't know if the war on guns has changed anywhere near as much as the war on drugs, for sure. Let's see. So got comments coming in. Everybody saying hey to Ozzy. Again, check out the Blue to Green podcast. I don't know if you're still out there, but definitely worth your time. And there's lots of them. So once you dig in, you'll have plenty to listen to. There are interviews with a lot of law enforcement, and you get an insight that's super interesting. Let's see. So DJ saying make sure your subscription and all that. Thanks. And then road sodas were a thing for sure. I don't know what road sodas. What does that mean? Is that like a booze thing? I mean, I know I drink soda on the road, or I used to. Wood is saying, so to push back gently, weed has never been deadly, unlike drunk driving. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I don't know. The people that are anti-marijuana are going to say that marijuana is super deadly, and you just don't realize it or something. And weed didn't have a campaign. I don't think weed has ever had a advocate other than, like people that are popular, whatever, like, people that are popular at the time, like Cheech and Chong or something, right? Like, so aside from like those kind of advocates, there's not like, I didn't know the lady behind MAD though, so I mean, like, I don't think she was critical or whatever. She was integral, but she didn't position herself to be like the person or anything, which was I think probably a reason why it is so successful, or it has been so successful. Lincoln to Minuteman. Thanks for that. Minuteman's website that I'd like to get back and refresh, and I haven't had a chance in a long time. But hopefully, the podcast coming back live will, help get me some time to do that. Maybe MDMA. That sounds right. Thanks. Probably had a good point on something back there, but I don't know when he said that. So thanks, and hopefully everybody's gonna have a good Fourth. I'm in Tucson. I'm down in Tucson. I used to get up there more often than not, but not much. But it's now we're talking about Blue to Green again. When I first found your podcast was when you first started going to Rhino Farms, Rogue Rhino Farms. And I had been going to Phoenix pretty much like every quarter, maybe, for a trip. And, going from Tucson to Phoenix, I can go whatever way I want, especially because I was going to Mesa. I think I don't know everything about Phoenix, but I was going very far east in Phoenix. So that means for Tucson, people that don't know, it's like there's the highway going up there, let's say at the old highway, and then a couple other ways that like you can jump off the highway. And they used to just drive through farms back in the old days. So I would have never even considered them unless there was like some kind of, like chemical spill on the highway and they made us go down that way. So I'd been down through Santan and all those places, over the years. I've been out here since the 90s, since the 90s, I guess. So I've been to Phoenix a billion times and I've never driven those back ways hardly unless I had to. Maybe if I was going to Florence or something, I would take a back way. But I started going that back way just because it was just as fast to get to Mesa as going on the highway and then cutting through Phoenix and all that. And when you brought up Rogue Rhino, which is is it 3 acres? It's not a huge place, but it's a really cool place in kind of between Phoenix and Tucson, but it's way closer to Phoenix. And it's in this place where there used to be, I don't know what it used to be, soybeans probably, or maybe wheat or something. Like it was just these these fields. And I don't know what they grow in Arizona, probably cotton maybe. So it was just these old fields back in the day. And now it's not. Now it's urban sprawl. Phoenix has grown into there and it's Home Depots and Walmarts and, stick and stucco housing everywhere. So Rogue Rhino is in the middle of like that transition from whatever you call when, this has happened all over the country. Whenever you have farms, that's just nice flat land. So when a farmer goes broke or whatever, or decides to sell out, I guess, they turn that into either little multi-mansions, little houses, or mini mansions, or they'll say turn it into subdivisions. And in that area, it's both. So it's just a neat little place. And you did a couple of podcasts from there, and then I joined it. And since I was driving up there all the time, I would go up there on try to plan my trips to go up on their what they call it, like their farmers market days, and get all kinds of fresh, organic type of produce. Super cool. Blue to Green is saying the National Organization to Reform Marijuana Laws, NORML, has been a political advocate for cannabis since the 70s, for sure. But I don't think very many people outside of marijuana knew about it. And even even if you counted all the marijuana people together, people that knew about marijuana and did marijuana or whatever, I doubt very many of them, unless they were reading, what was it, High Times and that kind of stuff, unless they were aware, they probably weren't, they didn't pay that much attention to that stuff. Maybe in head shops, when people go to buy their bongs and stuff, they'd see stuff from those kind of places. But I don't think I don't even know. We've had conversations about this kind of as it was happening, but it would be interesting to have a conversation with people who were around. Well, there's still people around. It's only happened in the last 10 years, but to have conversations with people who are integral, I guess, in the, I don't know what to call it, like the transition from let's do, just have complete prohibition to let's do medical marijuana. And then it seemed like just a few years later, it went from medical marijuana to some recreational, and then that wave. Again, I don't know if that was instigated or if it was created or if it just was going to happen anyway. And it was like once the dam was broke, that's the result. But it would be interesting to talk about that because I think we need something like that for firearms. For anybody that's not familiar with my rant on this, I really don't think we win the firearms debate by just having the laws go our way. That doesn't solve the the idea that people out there hate guns, hate our property, right? Hate our ability to own them. The way we change minds is by understanding, by removing some of the fallacies, and that's done like Woods was alluding to through the Overton window, moving that general perception of guns so that they have no reason to attack us. Then we remove the laws, and no one wants to push the laws right back. But right now we're playing this dumb ping pong game where we push the laws, they get mad and push the laws too far the other way. We get mad and push the laws back, and we don't even try pushing them. Right? How are we trying to push them too far the other way? We're just trying to push them to like leave us alone. But again, we're persecuted. We're the ones who are somehow defending violence and shit. At least that's the way it's staged, right? That's the way it's perceived by too many people. So that's my rant for the day. I'll probably rant on that again. Let's see, Woods is saying, but it was never the size or scope of Matt. I'm assuming you mean the marijuana fight or whatever, the marijuana, what do you call it? Like the marijuana faction or whatever. Maybe it was things like Cypress Hill and Cheech and Chong, like literally some of the celebrities, that's the word I was looking for before, like the celebrities that championed things like NORML to like let people know, hey, if you want to even contemplate being able to do that without being persecuted, go check out things like NORML. Foss is out there. I don't know if I said, hey, G23, welcome. So see, going earlier, we got more people in the chat. So welcome to everybody that's out there. Happy 4th of July. Happy 250th to everybody. You know what's weird? I had to listen to something earlier. Oh, it was NPR. So it was NPR. I was listening to this on the radio when I was driving. It's the only time I listen to NPR. But they said something to the effect of happy 250th. And then she said that like out of reflex or just because she was a normal person and said that. And then she had to, you could tell that she would like went, oh, for those who celebrate it. And I'm like, what kind of asshole says that in the United States? Like I can understand if you're going to, in Canada, hey, happy 250th to the US, if the Canadians celebrate, but in the United States, like, come on. Anyway, Blue to Green is saying, I'm a board member of the Arizona chapter of Arizona NORML. On Tuesday night, we are having a gun rights advocate / lawyer talk at our meeting about the ruling. I was going to invite you to it. Oh, right on. When is this? Tuesday night. I've always thought about going up to a NORML meeting, and then I never have, mainly because, it costs like, it's not $70 anymore. It might cost like $40 to drive up there. And, I'm not loaded, so I just don't drive up there. But I also had a shitty vehicle, and I do have better vehicles now. I won't be driving the 4x4 up there, but I would probably drive this guy up there. I don't know. What did you drive? You were a state trooper, if I remember correctly. What vehicle? I've got a Tahoe, and I've got an Explorer now. Actually, I've got a couple of Tahoes, but I'm a big fan of cop cars. One of the best values out there if you get a good one. DJ Sand, been a member of NORML since the 80s. It's been a valuable organization. Good to see grassroots states organizations develop from a lot of the stuff they did. Right on. Yep, I'm a big fan of Rogue Rhino. Still a member. I don't get up there that often, but the main thing is they only do their market thing on Saturday. So I'm happy to to support it, but I just don't get up there enough. Yeah, that's the thing for a lot of people, I'm sure. Real life is the way it is, right? But hopefully real life is doing good for everybody. Here's the thing about it. It goes up, it goes down. Can't have good without bad, right? And you can deal with bad. It doesn't last forever. Yeah, DJ, I don't know if you've listened to the podcast, but go check it out. You'll like it. G23 is saying, has anyone else been seeing the videos of the people who are in the country for the soccer games trying firearms for the first time? Oh, okay. I thought you were going to go with the trying food or whatever, because I've seen a lot of that. Like, oh, people have thought our food was crappy and then they ate it and they love it now. It's still crappy. Like, what do you mean? Like, it's still got the junk in it, but yeah, it tastes good. Nobody said it didn't taste good. But anyhow, as far as shooting guns, I have seen a couple of ranges that I follow, like on Instagram and Facebook. Facebook is rocking right now. So if people, who are listening to this on one of the other platforms aren't using their Facebook, if you're a gun person, Facebook is okay with guns now. So definitely still check it out. But when I scroll around wasting time looking at the feeds on Facebook and stuff, I have seen some of the ranges talk about, I guess you'd say, foreigners, visitors, or whatever coming in. That's one of the neatest things. And I think something, when we're talking about the Overton window, something that I don't want to say we haven't capitalized on it enough, because honestly, I think it's one of our strengths, is the opportunity that you have in the United States for an international, I'll just call them that, right? Those international folks, they get the opportunity to show up. And is my mic still working? I can't see my thing wiggling over here. I'm assuming it's still working, right? But anyway, so the opportunity they've got, because they don't have to have some kind of like rules or laws. They don't have to have some permit, in other words, or some kind of official reason to be able to shoot a gun. So that they get to just show up, and then they got to pay for it, because it's not like conscription either. It's not like the communists where, hey, you're in the country and you're of fighting age. Why don't you grab a machine gun? Oh, by the way, you're also going to be working for us for the next 2 years. It's nothing like that. So I think that is a great opportunity just to show them. And then something that they perceive as violent and unnecessary and, scary or whatever, they understand is controlled and, I don't know, interesting and fun, instead of just those negative traits. So they get to actually experience that part of it. Like I said, they get to pay for it and see, it's affordable, essentially, is what I was getting at. Like, it doesn't cost much more than a medium meal, right? It's not expensive to go shoot a machine gun. I mean, it's kind of expensive. You can't go do it every day, most people, but it's certainly something you can do on your birthday, or, like say, visiting the country. So for all those reasons, I think it's awesome. And then where do they go? They go to a gun shop and they get to see all the regular people just shooting their guns, for whatever reason, practice or to have something to do, or to show somebody a new gun, which are the main reasons we go to a gun shop or a gun range. They get to see a gun shop, more than likely, again, see the kind of stuff that's for sale. And I think it's difficult for someone, I would think it would be difficult for someone to go to a gun shop and see all that freedom, and then also continue to think that gun owners are horrible, reckless jackasses, right? Like, they're going to see that we're probably pretty boring and regulated, and even though our guns can do crazy cool stuff, like when we go to the range, we don't do any of that stuff because it would bother everybody. So, you know what I mean? Like, they're probably going to see how boring we are. And again, trying to keep that in their head with all the stuff they've been told, it's awesome. So I definitely dig that, but I guess I'd like to see it like on, the national news or something, and the national news give gun shops a break. Like, how cool is it that we have this ambassador for the Second Amendment on the 250th anniversary, when all these internationals came to experience their football or whatever. Let's see, Blue to Green this Tuesday at Jared's Coffee, Tea and Gallery in Mesa, starting at 6. It's at the Mesa University Country Club. So if I remember right, Mesa it's not north. I mean, it's definitely just east of Phoenix. And I think it is sort of where I'm talking about, like just north of where I used to go up there all the time. DJ saying NPR versus something. Pop in some versus music. Yeah, we've got music, but the thing is, I only listen to the left when gun owners are left, right? Like the liberal gun owners or something post something, like I see a liberal point of view from that. And then a couple of gun owners I know are not right? They are left, I guess. And when they post stuff, well, most of the time, the people I know don't have anything to prove. So they're usually not posting everything. So I don't see a ton of it. So in order to get some, whatever, like some perspective from what they're doing, I'll go check it out. But NPR sucks. It's so warped now. Like, I can't imagine it. It's probably like listening to some extreme right stuff, which I don't listen to either. So it's probably a bad thing. But here's the other thing. It's the only thing I can it's the only thing I can find on the radio when I'm driving around. So it's either that or music. Music out here is inconsistent. I won't listen to country because I have standards, and the other stuff is weird. Like, it's just all over the place. Like we have school radio, which is too eclectic. Honestly, sometimes it's too weird for me. And then like just regular like whatever they are, the rock and roll, or there's like a drive station, I guess, now that we're talking about it, that has like 70s and 80s music, like, and that's sort of almost elevator music. And I've listened to that, but the problem is during the bullshit of 2020, they were super like, let's just do whatever the government tells us to do, eh? Like, let's wake up and do what we're told. And I couldn't listen to it through that. So I quit listening to that station. But anyway, whenever I go for any distance, I plug in the Bluetooth thingy and I do have just a bunch of music on the phone and I just run the phone through a Bluetooth thingy. Blue to Green is saying, I started in a Crown Vic, then in 2013 an Explorer, then became a detective and drove a bunch of different vehicles. Oh, okay. Well, hopefully somebody got one of your detective vehicles. Well, actually, let me ask if you don't mind. And sometime if you'd like to have a chat about cop cars, I'm down. I'm trying to explore if cop cars are a topic people would want to talk about on the internet or not, because I'm super interested in them, but I don't see a lot of other people going live about it. I do have a Crown Vic. I got my first cop car. Wow, I think I smashed the front of my truck one time, and that was in like 2000 and something, 7, or this is a long time ago. I smashed the front of my pickup, and I just drove around my smashed pickup for a long time because honestly, it was just cosmetic. Like my truck was a Chevy, and it didn't do anything to it, but it wrecked the hood and it wrecked the grill and stuff. It looked stupid. So I just drove it around, and I had a hood on it, but it looked like crap. So at some point, I decided I can't keep doing road trips in this truck because it's all smashed up. And that's when I bought my first cop car. So I'm trying to remember what year that was. I could probably go look it up. But anyway, I did buy a Crown Vic out of Albuquerque and never bought one before. So I just went to a guy here in Tucson that had bought it and he fixed it up. So I kind of figured, okay, this guy knows what he's doing, so I know I'm not getting a lemon. And it wasn't. It was a decent one. So I drove it for a couple of road trips around the country. Oh, you know when I bought it in 2013, 2012 maybe, because that's when I did the road trip. So 2012, I think we did the road trip, right? So I must have bought it around then. So I had a Crown Vic it's a 2000 Crown Vic, and I wore it out. Like I really drove the heck out of that one. I really liked driving it around, but it eventually got the van, so I could do van life and drove it around for a number of years. And now I have the Tahoes and the Explorer. 5x5. Okay, thanks. Let's see. Guns sell themselves. They are just fun for sure. And that's the thing. Like people can understand. That's the other thing I should have said, that people have this concept that guns are just violence and murder machines or something, and that we're just weird for liking them. Once they go shoot them and they go like, oh, actually it's difficult to hit the center and it's kind of fun and this thing's a cool mechanism. And then you give them a second gun and they go, oh, there's a difference between these. I always tell them it's like driving motorcycles, or try to tell people I've never shot a gun before. Like think about motorcycles, driving a Harley, driving a race bike, driving an off-road bike. They're all going to be a different ride, a different feel. And that's how guns are. So there's a lot of people that rent them and own different ones just because they have kind of different uses and they shoot differently. It's a different challenge to shoot them or whatever. G23 says a couple of ranges in Texas that are letting visitors shoot for free, except the ammo isn't free. Well, that's cool. A lot of times the range fees are obviously just keep the rent, right? And the gun fee, $7 or $10. I don't know. I guess it's been a while since I've rented a gun, but whatever. Usually those are kind of just a number because like at least a lot of the ranges that I used to shoot at, you'd pay the whatever, $12 or $7 to rent the pistol. Let's say 1911, shoot it a little while, come back, after maybe shot a box of ammo through it, come back in and go, now let me try the Beretta. And they want you to buy a gun. So they'd rather have you shoot every rental gun in there. So they'd be like, here you go. Of course, you bought some more ammo. But yeah, they'd let you basically shoot all the guns in the case because it didn't cost them nothing. So I could see them making that as an incentive, like come in and shoot for free. That'd be cool. Actually, I need to take them up on that if some of the ranges around here had that right now. Firearms are definitely representative of America's bounty. I think it's awesome that people can have the visceral experiences when they visit. It's a good point too. And then now that you're saying that, it makes me think, and these people are either wearing the meta glasses or they're filming their vertical videos and they're sharing that with their audiences. So what a great ambassador, they're creating ambassadors for firearms. Yeah, well, you guys with your country music are paying enough money to keep it going. Blue to Green is saying, I put 170,000 hard miles on my 2007 Crown Vic. Man, that'd be neat. I can't imagine getting a brand new one. So strong. They're amazingly strong when I buy them at 140,000 miles. Like when you're getting them brand new, they got to be so fun to drive. Let's see, I had the 4.6 V8 and it went full throttle every time I took off. It had 3 transmissions put into it. Oh, wow. 2 differentials and multiple control arms. Because, and that's the thing, like the neat thing about my Crown Vic that it's hard to tell people is like, yeah, I'm not that fast. It's a big, giant car. But when I was going 70 down the highway, I could go to 100 and, it didn't care. It was like, okay, let's go to 100. It was a lot of fun. And the Tahoes don't do that. They're fast, but they're not like that. The Explorer is super fast. It's crazy fast, and it's only a little 6-cylinder. Because I jumped it. Oh, okay. But the motor never failed me. Only left me stranded when I blew the transmission. Oh, damn. So that's another thing. When Uncle's paying, well, I guess I don't know what you call it. Back in the day, we would just say, when Uncle's paying for it, Uncle's cars can go anywhere. When Uncle Sam is giving you your cars, they can do anything. Worst that happens is you get in trouble for breaking them. But you're not paying for it. Well, actually, you probably could. If you were negligently breaking a military vehicle, you'd probably have to pay for it. But most of the time, if you're just using it, you break it, big deal. You just get another one. When I was working at the Forest Service, they didn't care at all. Like you break something, you just get another one. And they just throw the one away and get another one. It's just the way the government is. I'm not sure law enforcement's a little different, but they have things to do. Like they can give their old cars to the traffic or whatever they do to the training. They take them to the range or whatever. So they don't mind, I'm sure, when you break one in the line of duty, as long as you're not, again, being reckless or whatever. But anyway, so if anybody wants to chat about cop cars, wrong button. Anybody wants to chat about cop cars, I'm definitely down. I need to do something like what Blue to Green is doing, having conversations and interviews with people in law enforcement, because what I'd like to do is talk to some of the people whose, I'm assuming this job exists, but I'd like to talk to the people who get the new cop cars in, like whoever's in charge of the fleet or whatever it's called, and make sure that all the stuff is up to date for that department, right? Because I'm sure they come from Ford or Chevy with some kind of package in them. You're buying them, 12 at a time or something with some kind of package, but then they got to be tweaked, right? And some of that I'm assuming is tweaking the sirens to whatever your protocol is. And I don't know nothing about the radios really, but just the lights and the accessories and all the like the Tahoes have a second battery for everything. I'd really like to talk to somebody about like what that's all about and what that's like. And then, obviously pick their brain on some of the loose ends that I've got on mine that are retired or what. But anyway, I think there's a lot of use or a lot of life left in a lot of things that come out of municipal fleets. My van was from the post office, and I've got I don't even know how many road trips that I got out of the van, like years and years worth of road trips out of it. It did start to fail. That's why I decided to retire it. It is for sale if anybody wants to buy it, by the way. Barbecues out there, welcome. So getting back to, we've been 45 minutes in, really. I haven't talked about too many gun topics, but it's Friday, and I was actually thinking about doing some sort of trivia or something. So since I haven't thought of anything and I've been chatting this whole time, I think I'm just going to go over to Facebook and find Packrat, dude is Packrat out there? I think he is out there. Packrat just posted something. Didn't he just post something in here? I didn't say hey to him, but I think I flashed something on the screen. Or am I crazy? Wasn't Packrat here? Or am I crazy? Maybe he wasn't here. But he did post something on Facebook, if I can find his feed. Is it going to help me or is it not going to help me? I'm not used to searching for stuff on, what is this, Facebook? Do I have to spell his whole name out? Come on, really? Is it Packrat's Attic? No. Where is it? Does anybody know what Packrat's thing is? I need to find his Facebook so I can do this. And I thought it was going to be quicker to find his thing than not. I think Facebook is one of these things where once you've already seen it, it's not going to show it to you again. I'm going to try to scroll down and see if I can find his post that I seen earlier. He gave me an idea, and I'm just going to steal it, I think. Hopefully he won't mind. Is it attic, though? I tried typing it in, and I didn't see it. It's showing me some things I've seen already today, but not everything I've seen, so that's annoying. But anyway, I'm kind of rambling here as I'm trying to talk and type at the same time. But since it's Friday, I didn't really have a plan. I used to do the weekly wrap ups on Friday, and I think that's lame. I think I'm going to start doing the weekly wrap ups on like a Tuesday or something, because just to throw it, just to brush your teeth with your left hand type of thing, just to change things up and not be doing the same thing over again. Does he have a Facebook? He does, because I seen him post something on Facebook earlier. Maybe it was on Instagram now that you're saying it, and maybe that's why I'm not finding it. Thanks. Gizzard's out there, by the way. Is Gizzard going to, what's the GOA thing called? Goals? Is Gizzard going to goals? That's the big question. Now I can probably try to look for him over here. Grant. Seriously? No, I'm not finding it. Packrack's attic. That's what I thought. Yep, I'm not finding it. So, is Instagram going to show me the stuff I've already seen? I can't remember. So there's a lot of dead air here. This was supposed to be a quick transition into the next little section of the show here. But what I was trying to get at is that I'm going to do something on Friday. It was like lighter, I guess. So, not a video. He's got some post about like most people haven't been to 4 of these cities or something like that. Can you find it? I don't know. I thought I saw it on Facebook, but evidently I can't find it. But what also happens is once you've seen something, they won't show it to you again. But anyway, it wasn't a video. But anyway, thanks. So Gizzard says possibly. That's all he said the other day too. I'm just trying to find more people that I know are going to be there. I think Clover will be there and Snob will be there, right? And then a couple of people I know in the industry, I guess. But I'm just trying to find if there's like more regular people. Is DJ going to Iowa? Here it is. How do I got to figure out how to get this off of here. That's the last time I saw from him. What? Yeah, the cities you've been to. Oh, it was a YouTube short? Thanks. No wonder I wasn't finding it anywhere else. So we're just going to use this. If I can get it to show up on my screen, we'll just use this. Why is it showing me all this? As a screen capture. And this is Pack Rat's thing. I'm just working it off of them. But obviously, quick transition over to this. So it says the average American has only been to 4 of these cities. I guess I can't make it bigger. Let's see. Am I able to do a print screen? Oh, I am. Look at that. So we'll just grab it, get rid of that, open up Paint, and put it in Paint. And now we can just look at it like this. Come on, what's going on? Okay, so for people that are listening, this show does turn into a podcast, by the way. So some people are listening to this like while they're driving or something. So for those folks that are listening, according to this post, the average American has only been to 4 of these cities. First off, is that true or false? Like, do you really believe that the average American has only been to 4 cities on this list? This is just going to be a list of cities in the United States. So it's not like it's magic cities that no one's ever been to. And a couple of these are massive tourist destinations. So it doesn't make sense to me. I would say an average American has probably been to more like 7 of these, but let's find out. because it like one of these is probably in your state and one of them is probably like 20 minutes away, right? So it doesn't make any sense that people have been to 4 of these. But for true or false, do you think that this is for real? And then we'll go ahead and I'll start reading them here. So in your head or whatever, you can use a piece of paper if you need to. If you're a 9mm shooter and you need to use a piece of paper, we understand and we're not judging. You can use a piece of paper and a crayon. But let's go ahead and I'll read a bunch of cities here and then see how many of these cities you've been to. And then once I'm done reading them, you can put your numbers in here and we'll see who's been to the most cities. And I mean, I'm sure some people have been to all 20, right? Like barbecue's probably been to all 20. So here they go. And again, I don't think they're in any order here. They're just a bunch of cities. Orlando, New York City, Las Vegas, San Francisco, Boston, Miami, Chicago, Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, New Orleans, San Diego, Denver, Seattle, Philadelphia, Phoenix, Dallas, Houston, Nashville, San Antonio, and Honolulu. That's the one that could get people, the Honolulu one, right? I think I've only not been to Honolulu, and if I've been to Boston, I don't know if I've been to Boston. I might have been to Boston. No, I don't think I've been to Boston. So for me, and then I hadn't been to Denver until just recently, and maybe Philadelphia. So I think for me, it's like 17. But I've taken a bunch of road trips. So I know I'm not like an average, but I think an average person, there's probably a way to put all these states or these cities into a robot and have it tell you like the probability of someone not being within a few miles of a couple of these. Because if you live anywhere on the East Coast, you've probably been to like 8 of these already anyway. And I've probably been to most of these when I was a little kid, just driving around on vacation. Back in the day, we used to drive on vacations. So let's see what kind of numbers we got. Barbecues, heard the cities, I hope. And let's see, DJ has 12, Florida and parts of New England were light. How many people had Honolulu? Because that takes obviously a trip out there, unless you've been in the Navy or something. Gizzard had 11. Foss says, I've only been to 2 of these cities, and he has Honolulu on his list. You've never been to any of these other places? Seattle? Yeah. What about, you haven't been down to San Francisco or nothing? I don't know. I'm trying to think. San Francisco is pretty far away. And they don't have anything from Oregon even in here, do they? But nobody goes to Oregon. Let's see. DJ says, not real. I'm surprised the number of people I run into that haven't been outside the state's border that they live in, born and raised. But you live in Nebraska. I've lived in states where, like in Arizona, it's rare to find people that I only know 2 people, I think, that I know. Wait, 3? I think I know 4 people. Wait, hold on. I don't know, like probably 4 people that lived here their whole lives. Not that I know a ton of people, but everybody else I know moved here like me, like at some point in their life. And then it hated it here. Never moved to Arizona. If you don't live here, you're allowed to visit, I guess, but you don't want to live here, especially if you come from California. You hate it here. It's horrible here. It's much horribler than California. You should stay there. But yeah, when I hang out in Wyoming, a lot of people I knew in Wyoming, unless they were in the military, like never left Wyoming. And the people I knew in the army that were in Wyoming, like went right back to Wyoming and never left Wyoming. I bet he did not enjoy not being in Wyoming. Let's see. Wood says 3, but loads of those places blow chunks. Oh, I'm not saying I loved every place I've been to. Orlando as a kid, when you're a little kid. No, I've never been to New York, so I guess New York's not on my list. Las Vegas, I mean, I go there all the time. Vegas is awesome. San Francisco, I've been there a number of times. It's okay. It's shitty, but it's okay. Boston, never been to. Miami, on vacation as a little kid. I only know Florida from like existing in Florida long enough to be on a boat to go fishing, and then I like literally didn't care about anything else in Florida except going fishing when I was a little kid. Chicago, Washington, probably been to a number of times each. Los Angeles, probably even more times than DC. New Orleans, I've driven through it a few times. San Diego, a bunch of times now. I really like San Diego. I'm liking it more and more. Denver, like I said, never been there until just recently, and then on the last couple of road trips. I hate it though. It sucks for van life. There's no reason to go to Denver. Seattle is pretty awesome from what I remember, but it's been a long time. One of my first long road trips, I ended up in Seattle. We spent a lot of time there. Really liked it. I don't think I've been to Philadelphia. Wait, no, shit, I have been to Philadelphia. Oh yeah, I have actually. I tried to go to a vegan restaurant. I tried to go to vegan restaurants when I travel, and I tried to go to this place in Philadelphia, and then get there, and they have like a piece of paper stuck on the thing saying that they're at some festival or something that they're not open. And I was like, dang it! Spent like all this time trying to park, so I don't like Philadelphia. I ended up going to an Indian restaurant that was amazing though. Phoenix doesn't count because I live here. Dallas, been to too many times. I don't really like Dallas. Houston, only been there once. Or no, I've been through Houston a couple of times. It's lame. Nashville is okay, but it's not that great. San Antonio is awesome. San Antonio is the only place you want to go in Texas. And then Honolulu doesn't count because nobody can drive there. It doesn't really count if you can't drive there. In my opinion, it's fake. It's probably real. Like Foss says he's been there, but how do you know you didn't go to the airport, get on a plane, instead of oxygen, they blow in nitrous oxide or something. They just drive into a big fancy, what do you call it, like hangar. But instead of being metal like you expect, it's painted like Hawaii. You get out of the hangar and they got it super humid in there and you just want to get inside. The rest of the time you're in Hawaii, you're in air conditioning inside. It was an underground facility at the airport and you thought you were in Hawaii. And obviously they just reverse it when they want to take you home. So no, and who knows what they do for like 5 hours when you're under the influence of their knockout drugs? They're probably touching you and doing weird things. So I'm not going to Hawaii. It's probably fake. Let's see. Because it says I've been to Denver and Phoenix. If the airport counts, it definitely counts because you've experienced it. You've experienced the elevation, the humidity, probably seen how gross the city is or how awesome the city is, depending on where you went. Barbecue's only been to 7. And if it wasn't for driving a truck, I would have only been to 1. That's interesting. I would have thought your number was at the top because of truck driving. Let's see. I've been to the Bay of San Diego, but never touched land. Interesting. Wonder how that happens. Some kind of amphibious situation? Or is that Alcatraz? Or no, San Diego. Yeah, probably some kind of dolphin situation, I'm guessing. Gizzard says, I spent the day at the San Diego Zoo. See, that counts. That's definitely in San Diego. 7, not 6. Okay, still. I thought you would have had a lot, like 17 or something. Barbecue says, I know people who have never left the county. Yes, I said county and not country. That's interesting. I mean, I'm sure there's people like that. I used to kind of want to be like that. I've never left the country. Like I've had the opportunity to leave the country and I never have. But the reason I don't leave the country is because I'm still enjoying, this country, like how much we have to offer. Californians are all moving to Texas. Austin for sure, but they definitely stop along the way. Trust me, they live here now. That the whole area I was talking about between Phoenix and Tucson that used to be farms, that's not people that aren't from California. Let's put it that way. Sometimes they're from up north, but a lot of those people are from California at this point. Also, Prescott, like holy moly, that's mostly California at this point. DJ saying I was surprised Gary had never been to Nebraska. There's not much reason to. What are you talking about? Thunder on the Prairie. We know he goes up there. Let's see. I was in Miami in January and it was still 93 degrees at night at 11 p.m. and more humid than you can imagine. Dude, I can't even tell you how horrible Florida was. I'm so glad Chacha wasn't in Florida anymore. It was expensive to go there and he had to be miserable the whole time. We also we were new to the whole thing, traveling in general and doing stuff. So we didn't do everything right for sure. We learned a lot of lessons, but it was expensive lessons. And yeah, humidity. Ugh. When you come from the desert, you don't even know. You might think you know humidity. I don't care where you live. You don't know humidity. Like we know humidity. We understand what it's like whenever we leave. New Mexico's okay and parts of California, but whenever we go anywhere else, we suffer. And nobody gives us any credit for how much we have to suffer. Seattle sucks balls. Yeah, Seattle can be fun though. I wouldn't stay in Seattle, and I guess we just passed through Seattle. But I mean, I liked Seattle area. DJ saying it's a great music city for sure. Let's see. Then Oregon sucks the thing, the whole state. Yes, Seattle was okay in the 80s. That's when we went. Wait, hold on. We went in the 90s. Grunge was just starting. No, grunge didn't happen yet. When did we drive there? Maybe 90, 91. So that's, I think, when we went 90 or 89 or 90. No, it had to be 90. I think it was 90. Gizzard says, okay, been to 13 then. Right on. Gizzard's also old, so, you all have a chance to catch up. Let's see, a bunch of Samoan side in Hawaii, allegedly. We understand. Who knows what their lines they're feeding you? How much they're getting paid to act like they live in Hawaii? They could live on any island. How do you know specifically it's in Hawaii? Have you asked for a picture of them with a newspaper and a GPS unit? I'm just saying. Do airports count? I gotta recalculate. I believe airports count. I don't think, you know what I mean? Like, and maybe if you literally just land, don't get out of the plane and take off again. But honestly, even if you did just that, if you came in at night, you know how big the town is, the city is, because you see the lights and you know how big it is, especially because you're flying. You just came from 2 other cities, so you can compare them or more, right? If you're on that kind of flight, you might be going to more, you might be hopping around. But then if you get out of the plane, I think it counts for sure, because now you are experiencing that humidity and that altitude and the noise and just, the city, day or night. I think it counts. So you could fight me on this. I mean, it's just the internet. Let's see. Gizzard is saying Oregon has better firearms laws is like saying Alaska is nicer than the North Pole. They're both cold as hell. That's too much like an SAT question. I'll take your word for it, though. Austin is the only airport I've flown into that has live bands playing in the terminal. Really? What about Vegas? Pretty sure I've seen live music in Vegas. And I haven't been to a lot of other airports, but I think in Vegas I've seen it. Maybe it was in Texas, though. I've never flown to Austin, though. I think, wait, where did we fly? I did fly to Texas, but actually I don't think it was Austin, though. That wouldn't make any sense. We were flying to Florida. Pretty sure we've stopped in Dallas or something. Gizzard, name one firearm law in Oregon. Trying to refer to MZ 114 courts blocked it, so it doesn't exist. What? Oh, G23 said Oregon has better firearms laws than Seattle, you're saying. I don't know. I thought you were getting wailed on in Oregon. I need to get my bearings again with all the different states' laws. It's a tough one, and it's going to take a little time, so I'm not saying I'm doing it tomorrow, but at some point we'll do it. And I tend to do these things live. What's the point of doing research if you are going to present it anyway? Might as well do it live and talk about how you figure it out and, the validity of it and so forth. Vegas does have slot machines for sure. Back in the day, I've flown to Vegas so many times back in the day. I don't fly there at all anymore, but when I first moved out here, flying to Vegas was like $45 or $75, I forget. It was very inexpensive, and we all had okay jobs, so we had money, and anytime we just felt like doing it, we would just go to the airport and get a plane to Vegas, go to one, get a free ride to one of the hotels or whatever, usually Slots of Fun or whatever it's called. What's Slots of Fun? Is that Circus or is it something else? But anyway, Slots of Fun is right next to Circus. And then hang out there for a while, get back, get another free shuttle back to the airport, come home, and it was amazing. So I can't even tell you how many times we went to Vegas like that. But that's when we go through the airport up there. Oh, snap. It's already midnight up in the East Coast. So yeah, happy 250th. I imagine there's some fireworks going off right at midnight. Shit, I should have a drone up in the air. I'm going to take my drone up tomorrow and try to film some fireworks. I got hiccups. Try to film some fireworks from, their level, or maybe even looking down at them. That'd be fun. So I'm trying to figure out where in town I'm going to have the best, ratio or the best, concentration maybe of fireworks. I've been around for a while, so there's different parts of Tucson that go nuts with it. And this year is going to be amazing, right? So trying to figure out. Well, I can't go near the airport because of stupid laws, but I can. There's still lots to choose from, like a lot of places to choose from that aren't near the airports. We have a couple of golf courses that'll do craziness and like their own elaborate displays. They're probably going to go nuts, and then some, like, I guess, what would you call them? Like the city run ones or whatever they are. I don't know if the city. I imagine the city does them. I don't know if the city or the county pays for them. Behind the crowd would be the best place. No, I'm not going to go to the main event ones. I don't think, because I figure there's going to be a ton of people at them, and there's enough stuff happening just in neighborhoods. That's what I'm thinking of. The neighborhoods that are going to just go nuts. I mean, normally on a 4th of July, it's pretty good out here. I mean, it's not bad. And then this is 250, so it's going to probably be really good. DJ says, I've seen player grand pianos in airports. Omaha had one. Don't remember where else I saw them. Not trying to hang out in airports. I grab carts and go somewhere depending on the layover. You really can't hang out in airports anymore if you're armed. Like back in the day, you could hang out in an airport, I guess, but now they don't want you to carry your guns in there, so I don't go in there. Let's see. Courts have blocked any anti-2A laws in Oregon so far. We are free and have threaded barrels, parts kits, and more than 10 round mags. Right on. Like I say, I haven't been paying attention. I know I guess I knew they were hovering their hand to slap you, but I'm glad to hear that they had not been able to connect. Did a 6-hour layover in Atlanta. Oh my goodness. Oh, where were we going? I think coming back from Florida. Or no, maybe it was going to North Carolina. I haven't flown that much, so it had to be one of those 2 flights. We stopped in Atlanta, and I think it's like 4 or 6 airplanes take off at the same time. It is the craziest, amazing, like massivest thing ever. Pretty sure they were all like UPS or something like that, or FedEx or something. But yeah, like giant planes, like passenger planes, except they're like FedEx, so they're just like mail or whatever. But like 4, was it 6? Like 4 planes though taken. It looked like some kind of massive air show, and that was just all the damn time. Like it is a massive hub. That was so fun. It was interesting. I would have stayed there for a while because it was so interesting to watch those tons of planes just freaking coordinated and doing their thing. Like there's so much, so complicated of things happening out there. Nobody pays attention. We take a lot of shit for granted. But we're 250 years into it. I think we're doing all right. I've seen I've seen too much. I don't want to say a lot. I've seen some, which is too much of the, like, this is the end of whatever they choose to say, like republic or empire or whatever fuck word they're going to say. Like, this is the end, 250 years, it's over, blah, blah, blah. Nothing's ever lasted this long, blah, blah, blah. So, for as much fun as people are going to have tomorrow, don't forget that NPR's whole like focus the last couple of days has been like, in spite of the fact that we're 250 years old, or how we were able to hold on, even though we're somehow able to hold on 250 years, even though all these horrible fill in the blank. Let's see. Gizzard is saying, thing is, most major airports aren't physically in the city, so you're either in for a 30-minute Uber to get anywhere. That's kind of a good point. Every once in a while, one of the old airports is right in the middle of where you're going, but yeah, and they don't usually have real flights going to those, so you are gonna experience some of the suburbs or whatever, depending on what would you call suburbs. Some of these places aren't big enough to have suburbs, I guess. Anyhow, what are we doing? Let's see. We're probably pretty much blabbing here for an hour or so, but like I said, I don't really script this, and I haven't figured out how I'm going to be doing the shows here, but I did want to get the ball rolling and get the shows going again. Yeah, it used to be far off the strip. I'll tell you what, when I first started going to Vegas, you'd get off the airport and you felt like you were you did go through the desert for a little while until you got to the strip, because it was off the strip. And you definitely felt like when you left the strip, like, where was the strip? The strip was sort of at the end of Mandalay Bay or something back then. So, I mean, I forget where, because hotels have come and gone. But the strip would end, and then you drive through like nothing but desert until you got down by the airport, and then there started to be a couple of things down that far south that sprouted up, and then you would drive like whatever east over to the airport, and it felt like forever because of the scale of Vegas and stuff. But now that Vegas sprawled all the way to touch the airport, you're literally, I've stayed at hotels. I have stayed at the hotel that's like across the street from the airport, and it is super loud outside when those airplanes go by. Inside, you don't even know there's an airport. They did a really good job of soundproofing it, but crazy close to the airport. And yeah, now it's just the scale of it. It doesn't seem like the airport is away at all. And honestly, it isn't. It's really what, a mile or whatever. But it felt like a long time back in the day because Vegas was smaller. I did that states thing or whatever, how many states you've been to. I figured that was kind of like a bracket since we're an hour or something in. But I'm trying to come up with some sort of a, thing to do to, have something else to do during the show. Figure out a way to do something. But I won't be a bracket. I'll figure out something else besides the bracket. Bracket's been done too much at this point. DJ saying the best layover was overnight in Mexico City. Landed late out of Dallas, like noon, and my flight to Puerto Rico was the next day at like 2. They comped to a hotel and went on a wild taxi ride. Interesting. Oh, most of the night, and did some tourist type stuff the next morning. I don't know. Mexico City, the only thing I would want to do in Mexico City is look at the ruins. Like whatever I can see from old ass Mexico City is all I want to see. And then I guess that there's the university, has some crazy architecture. I guess I'd take some pictures. But yeah. Don't think I'd want to hang out in Mexico City very long. I don't like Mexico City food. I like Sonoran food. So I don't think I'd enjoy Mexico City food. From what I've tasted in the United States of Mexico City food, like what I've been told is Mexico City food, it's too sweet for me. It's like, I don't know, I like the blander Sonoran food that you spice up with your own tastes and your own condiments and stuff. All right, well, there's gun topics galore. We'll have plenty of time to talk about stuff since I'm not influenced by, some kind of industry trends and gossip and bickering. So we'll probably be talking about things I've researched in the past. I was talking about the North American Arms collection. I've noticed when I was doing something, looking through my email, and I filtered it to YouTube for something, looking for something, and I saw all the emails that came from the YouTube emails come for all different things, but they'll send you an email every time they pull one of your videos. And I just saw, they do this every day at this point. There used to be 7,000 videos up. I think we're at 5,000 at this point, or less even. I don't even know. I'd have to figure out how to tell. But at one point, there was a lot more videos up on the channel, but essentially every day or every couple of days, they'll delete a video or more. Some days it's like 3 or 5 videos in a day. So it's probably active, like assholes reporting the videos, I'm assuming. Like, I can't imagine YouTube cares. Like, they've been fined for 12, 13 years, 10 years, 7 years, whatever the video is. And all of a sudden it violates something. So I'm assuming this is some kind of campaign where people who don't like us or don't like guns or don't like something are like using the mechanisms to fuck with us. But it's annoying, and who cares? The video gets taken down. Like I said, I probably could find the videos if I really cared, but I posted the videos to share and to create conversation at one point years ago, and I'm not desperate to have the videos up anymore. So, or keep the videos up, I guess. I'd prefer them to just be up rather than be down for people to find and to explain, to appreciate. But like I said, I really can't afford, or it's not really feasible to replace the ones that they pull. So I figured I'd chat about the stuff that they're pulling down. And the North American Arms, like I say, for some reason they hate those guns, and they're like the least annoying, like the least violent. I don't know why they have a problem with those guns, but they pull down a lot of those videos. They've pulled down some of the junk guns when I did a series or two on the junk guns over the years. I don't remember, like usually what I would do is put down a collection on a table somewhere and spend, a few hours or whatever setting them up and looking at them and then doing videos about it. Sometimes I did that stuff live and just chopped up the lives, but for a while there I was just doing, making videos. Live wasn't a thing. So I was just making videos and then, so there would end up being like 10 or 15 videos in a series from that session, right? So, they delete 7 of those, and it's just annoying. Like, dang it, like they deleted the pieces that create the whole. It's no longer a whole thing anymore. It's like a old, half-eaten apple sitting there. So anyway, that's frustrating. And like I said, it's really not feasible for me to go find those files and re-upload them. So I figured at some point during the week, whatever day of the week it sounds like it'll fit, we'll go back and talk about some of those things that I've experienced. If other people have noticed, that kind of similar situation happening out there, then, we have, like I say, an infinite amount of conversations to have at that point. Of course, there's the legislation that's going on out there. I don't have the ambition that I used to talk about that stuff as much, mainly because there's no reciprocation. There's no other side of the conversation. I'm not here to lecture. That's boring as hell. I have no interest in doing that. When for a while there in the 2015 to 2019 era, we talked about this stuff, and there were just so many people who I would consider activists, people who were willing to take time and do things. Did I just mess up the microphone? Were willing to do stuff or to act, when we'd have these conversations, that it just fed the interest and the time it would take to get those kind of conversations going. So if that happens again, I mean, I'll be the bigger activist than you've ever seen, but I just can't afford to do it. I went broke essentially, trying to push that stuff or trying to help promote the stuff that was being done for years. There's still stuff being done. Definitely some of those people are still going. There's new people in the mix, and there's people that have been doing this longer than I have somehow. So I'm not saying that anything really. I'm just saying that that's what happened. So what I'm going to try to do is get towards that again. I'm just not going to break the whole thing down to do that every day or anything. But at that same time, like if it gets to be a popular enough interest in the conversation and daily, then we'll definitely do it daily. That would be the goal, honestly. But like I say, I'll play it by ear this time around, see what happens as we delve into future shows here. So for people that aren't used to live shows, that aren't used to being in live conversations, everybody over here on the side here, DJ, G23, Woods, Gizzard, Vulcan, try to drive up the screen here. There's other people. Foss is out there. Was Ozzy here? Thought I saw Ozzy. Barbecue, did I say already? And see what they should do. Maybe what I could do is click on everybody. Blue to Green was out here today. Welcome. But if there should be like a button you could click that just shows you a list of all the people in the chat. I mean, it wouldn't be that hard to pull that from their API. Actually, it'd be cool if YouTube had a button to do that too. But it'd be cooler over here on StreamYard. I'm scrolling. People can't tell what I'm doing. Oh, Night Strike was out here. I'm scrolling through the comments over here on the tool that I use to stream from. I use a tool that allows me to stream to Facebook and X and YouTube all at the same time. And that tool is called StreamYard. And it is what it is. It's okay. Been using it for a long time. But I'm using it to conglomerate. What's the word? To congregate. Is that the word? All the different conversations that are happening out there on those 3 platforms. Turns out, from what Gizzard is saying, people on X can only chat if they're paying X, which is stupid and lame. So if the people on X want to say something in the chat, you have to jump over to either Facebook or YouTube for it. But I was trying to go through and kind of say hey to the people who've been joining us tonight. So if I missed anybody, I apologize. I'm scrolling and typing and talking. And I got to get used to the whole thing again. Obviously, I am not doing a good job tonight of keeping talking the whole time. I'm used to having co-hosts and things, which is nice because then you can take a breath every once in a while. I haven't even taken a drink tonight, so my mouth is getting pretty dry here. So now that I'm saying that, let me... I think I'm having a blood orange kombucha. Did you try a kombucha? Is it kombucha? However you say it, kombucha. Whatever, I can't think of the word right now. Have you tried one of these yet, Gizzard? It's like I think it's fermented tea, like black tea. This one has blood orange in it. So the juice from blood orange is mixed with kombucha, whatever it's called. It tastes kind of like a beer a little bit because it's fermented. It's like fermented black tea. And then in this case, blood orange, it's amazing. But they make a mango one that is amazing. G23 is into kombucha. How do you say it? Kombucha? Kombucha? I've never actually said it in front of people, I guess. But you get it in the next to the lettuce and like sometimes where the mushrooms are all chopped up. Or where like you buy the salad dressings, like the fancy salad dressings. Have way worse shows for sure. Oh, I would like to say I've had the worst shows than anyone because suckers wish they could have as bad a shows as me. But, and I'm not as scared of having a bad show. That's the other thing. Other people are like super finicky about their shows have to be good all the time. That's lame. We're real. Hum is a great kombucha brand. I don't know what the brand is that I get. I get the one that has the mango. Whenever I found the mango, I liked root beer. There's a root beer version that's pretty good. But as soon as I found the mango one, I basically buy them out. Then every once in a while they go on sale for some reason. They're normally kind of expensive, like $4 a bottle, but they'll go on sale for like $2 something, and I'll grab them. But if you haven't tried it before, it's like it's kind of like a soda. It's more like a beer because it's a natural fermentation. So it's, soda is just sugar or nowadays corn syrup with, what is it, like CO2, I guess. So carbonation pushed into it, like physically. Where kombucha is like beer. It's what I keep saying. It's like beer because it's fermented. Like you put sugar and tea in a bottle and let it sit, and like the natural yeast or some shit turns it into fermentation, and then they put mango in there, and it's kind of like a orange soda. I'm sure somebody that's used to drinking orange soda wouldn't like it, but it's like an orange soda, but it's got like 60 calories for the whole bottle, and I don't drink it straight. I put it like 50-50 with water because I'm cheap. It is not the 9mm food. I take offense to that. It's amazing. So I'm wondering if Gizzard has tried it. I recommended it to Gizzard because he doesn't like drinking soda. Let's see. G23 would say his favorite thing is lingua. Yeah, that's a good point. So, while I do appreciate the advocacy, he would probably eat or drink lingua flavored kombucha. Although barbecue would probably drink tongue flavored soda also. Anyway, now we definitely have gone all around the world with topics tonight. So we did get some people on the Facebook giving it a thumbs up. Appreciate it. If you like, say, the best thing you can do is just leave some comments or something. Comments to suggestions maybe for topics, questions for sure. We can answer any question because we are all knowledgeable on gun stuff. And Tony and I will do a show tomorrow, and then potentially I'll be back on Sunday. I'm not going to say I'm going to do 7 days a week, but let's see what happens. We got goals coming up here, which is Gun Owners of America's event in Iowa. It's their third or fourth year. What is it? Their third year? Fourth year. I think this will be their fourth year, if I'm correct. But that made me think we're not going to just end the show here. What we'll do is go through and talk about some of the stuff that's coming up this year. So let's see. Would barbecue lingua? He would probably eat lingua. He eats barbecue, so he would have to eat lingua, I would think. Or else he's a fake barbecuist. We're going to share the screen and flip this over. Plus, barbecuing it doesn't mean you're going to eat it. So, like, would he put it in his barbecue versus would he want to eat it? Let's see. So, this is our blog. If you want to check it out, usually on Fridays, I like to send a blog up. I don't think I did today, but normally we would send a blog up and it's focused on real things, not stupid stuff that people pay me to talk about. In this case, we did sort of a scorecard on where we're at this year. I'm curious what people think. I didn't do a poll or anything, but to kind of get the question out there, we might do some polls going on, depending on how the show goes. Do some polls and try to keep some, or try to get a finger on the pulse of the people that watch the show or participate in the show. But till then, just kind of threw some information out here about what's been going on this year. But this is what we got coming up. So in August, so about a month from now, we've got the Gun Owners of America started doing their conference or their annual get together. So let's take a second and talk about get togethers. Who's on Facebook? Oh, Gizzard is over on Facebook. Thanks, Gizzard. Let's see. Ron Wayne is out there. Welcome. If ketchup is a fruit, then is ketchup a smoothie? Oh, if tomato is a fruit, is ketchup a smoothie? Is that what you're saying? Well, tomatoes are a soup or a fruit, but I guess you're saying if ketchup is a fruit, would it also be a smoothie then because it's smushed up? No, because a smoothie is supposed to taste good and you're supposed to drink it. Ketchup has too much sugar in it and is designed as a condiment. There's also vinegar in it, right? So I don't think it's designed to drink as much. Lingua as fish bait? That's interesting. Catfish would eat it, I bet. The first goals was 2024. Was it? Wasn't there like one in some city where they were shooting at each other during the range, and then there was one that they didn't shoot at each other, and then there was the one I went to, and now this will be the fourth one? That's how I'm doing it. Like there's two that I didn't go to and one that I did go to, and now there's this one. Thanks again to Gizzard for hanging out on Facebook. Facebook is rocking right now for people that like guns, so you might want to check it out. Yeah, I got you. Let's see. So DJ's pointing out one of our sites. We're called gun websites because back in the olden days, before the social medias were a thing, I was into building websites. So I have a lot of websites out there. One of them is guncalendars.com, and that's what it sounds like. It's just it's a calendar on the front page that has a bunch of the events. It has some historical like anniversaries and interesting, stuff to talk about at the water cooler or when you're at the range or something. But it also has like events like we're going to be talking about here. Let's see. Gizzard says he went to the first one in Knoxville in 2024. So Gizzard probably knows which the first one was. So wasn't it Knoxville and then wherever I went and then Iowa? Or no, wait, was it Knoxville and then Ohio? I don't remember. They'll tell us in the comments. Let me get back over though. So each year there's national level events, there's regional events. Okay. There's stuff for the entire industry. There's stuff for like subsets of the industry, right? So there's different groups that organize these events. So if we look at the gun industry out there, most people would think, what's the largest gun entity? What's the biggest membership entity for guns? I'm going to ask that question. If you're playing at home, yell out what you think the largest entity in the gun community is. Now, I guess a good question or a good thing to yell out would be, how do you rank the largest entity? So is it by membership? Because then it would be the NRA. Or is it by income? Because then it would be a different organization that makes approximately $24 million a month. And guess what? The NRA does not make $24 million a month. They wish they did. So we have organizations of great magnitude financially, and then we have organizations of great magnitude with members, and then we have organizations that have more integrity or have had a longer what's the word, like a longer I can't think of the word, a longer reputation or a longer whatever the word is for actually doing good work. So the NRA was doing fine for a long time, and then it got off track, and then it really derailed, essentially. And then it became a kind of a dead issue, like it wasn't a thing. And then recently it's been resurrected, and we're now seeing the beginnings of the results of the change in the NRA. And during that time, of course, we had these other state, national level organizations step up and take or take, well, take or do things, kind of to replace or to in the vacuum of the NRA, let's say. And then we have other organizations that make $24 million a month that nobody even pays attention to, that everyone gives a pass because, well, I'm not really focused on them. No one says to pay attention to them. So why would I? Of course, if somebody was making $24 million a month, you'd think we might be in a different situation, because that's more money than a lot of people imagine there is in this community. $24 million a month, and they're not doing shit, but whatever. So Goals is put on by Gun Owners of America, who saw that SHOT Show is an industry event. It's a trade show. It's not open to the public. And even if it was, it'd be boring for most people because it's an industry show. It's designed for gun shops and manufacturers to meet and exchange and make plans for the year. And it's once a year, and it's a giant event. So to add more people to it isn't feasible. And even if you could add more people to it, or wanted to add more people to it, I guess, it would degrade what the effect of the show is. It has a purpose. So since SHOT Show exists, a lot of people that, since we have the internet, that know about SHOT Show now got butthurt that they couldn't go to SHOT Show, even though, again, they'd probably be bored or not be interested in what's actually happening there. But here nor there, NRA kind of saw that as an opportunity to make their yearly annual meeting more of a thing. So they created their annual meeting and exhibition. So they changed that. Oh, I don't know. I mean, they've kind of been doing that for a long time, but I think they really upped it in maybe 2008 or something, when the internet was kind of kicking. Because I remember my first one in 2009 was no small event, and it was every bit as elaborate as SHOT Show, and it was basically the same booths as SHOT Show. So it was at the scale of SHOT Show in 2009, my first time going to NRA. I went to NRA for a number of years and then quit going because it just was a carbon copy of SHOT Show in a lot of ways, and it's expensive to get to. So as the NRA waned or fell apart, haha, look at that. Should be a meme, right? As the NRA waned, I'm going to leave it at that. If you know, you know. So as the NRA fell off, that opportunity to have a show, became more and more prevalent, I guess. So you did have the $24 million a month organization try to do a show for 2 or 3 years, probably lost too much money, so didn't do it because you never heard from it again. And then the NRA tried to copy it for a year, and that went away because the NRA was flopping like a dead fish at that point. And then you had GOA say, you know what, we should do something. So that's where the Goals conference that we're talking about here. Do we need another one? Should there be another one? Could there be another one? Those are the kind of questions I ask. So I figured, instead of just promoting Goals, which is fine, I'm going to also put it in some context. So Goals is what it is. It's fourth year. It's Gun Owners of America, which in context makes, last I looked, like $50 million a year. Sounds like a lot. It's a fraction of what the NRA still makes. And if they make $50 million a year, there's an organization in our community that makes $24 million a month, and they don't do shit. So that's all I'm saying. So Gun Owners of America is what it is. They've chosen to do the Gun Owners Action. Is that what it is? Gun Owners Advocacy. Can't remember what it stands for. Somebody else type it out there because it's written all over everywhere. But they decided to make this more towards advocacy than just industry, which is cool. And I think they've done a pretty good job. They've leaned into celebrity more than I would, and we'll see how that works out for them. But this is the fourth year. They've now gone to Iowa, which is also interesting. So they have not stayed in the same place every year, which is interesting. And I think that's a little bit because they want to, and a little bit because they didn't have a choice. A little bit because, they want to experiment a little bit. They don't have to stay in one place, and I don't think they want to stay in one place. Maybe let's put it that way. I think DJ gets it. Ron Wayne got it. Let's see. Reload the show. Thanks for that. Knoxville for the first two? Oh, really? Was it at that same place that I went to in Knoxville the whole time? For some reason, I was thinking Indianapolis every time someone said Knoxville, because every time I picture the early goals, I'm picturing Indiana and Iowa for some reason, or Indiana and Ohio for some reason. All right, everybody's saying hey to each other. Gizzard is saying this is their third year, so I guess I mixed up what's going on over there. So I've been to two of their third. That doesn't make sense. I think Gizzard's wrong. Let's see. Gun Website says the role of content creators at SHOT the same as when you first attended. If not, has the role of content creators changed over the years? Well, that's an awesome question. So I don't know if you're just trying to set me up for one, but thanks for that. So Barbecue is asking if the role of content creators or the media, I guess, is at SHOT Show is the same as when you first attended. I'm going to answer that both ways because he said content creators, which is different than media. So as media, or at least I've been going to SHOT Show as media since 2005. And in 2005, it was definitely different. The technology, we had different cameras. They were only picture cameras. They were barely digital. I think they were 1 megapixel. And I didn't buy the newest or best camera or nothing, but the one I could afford was a 1 megapixel. And taking a digital picture was like definitely a big deal. Like it was not normal, and people were certainly concerned. I always talk about the first year that I went to SHOT Show, we had to bring a printer into the hotel so that we could print out, what are they called? I can't think of the word, like not consultation, but there's like I can't think of consent. Yeah, consent forms of consent or something like that. So we had to print out these forms, and then anybody who was in a picture had to sign the thing. So it was stupid. Like it was like some kind of weird procedure that we had to deal with, and they were walking around enforcing it. And if you took pictures, like you brought out a camera, it was a big deal. So the 2005 was crazy different. I would say by about 7 or 8, they didn't care so much about cameras because everybody knew what the internet was, but the internet was slow and there wasn't anything on the internet. So they weren't too concerned. They knew what it was. They knew that it would allow us to get our pictures around faster, but nobody cared. There was no effect. By about 2010, you started to see social medias and things and entities. So while some of us have been doing SHOT Show many years by then, it was more of a thing that people expected to see SHOT Show coverage. It wasn't like a fringe thing that you had to go to the forums to find. It was just going to be on your websites and on your news things, and it would be pictures that you never saw from SHOT Show. Usually your pictures from SHOT Show from the 90s and stuff would be like a picture of the crowd, and there'd be like one picture, maybe a picture of the building. And now all of a sudden you're seeing like actual like dozens of pictures of products and stuff. So that was a change that happened around 2010. By about 2015, YouTube had come to SHOT Show, ruined it, pissed everybody off, like burned their bridges, really just wreaked havoc. And that's just growth of capitalism. It was kind of fun in hindsight, but at the time it was just destroyed. It was crazy how weird it was. And then there was like a rebound from that, like where there was a number of years, so I'd say from like 16 to 18 even, where people didn't want to have anything to do with the internet or anything at SHOT Show. And it was almost kind of like, get away from me. I don't want you to, I don't want you ruining my company, or I can't afford you to ruin my company kind of shit. And then those large splashes dissipated, or those assholes that ruined everything were gone, and their tactics and their strategies weren't duplicated by anybody else because they were really assholes. And you started to see individual companies with their own websites and their own, I shouldn't say websites, but their own internet presence, who didn't need or weren't at the mercy of people walking up to them. And then it changed a lot. And now I would say everyone's more comfortable because no one is as scared. Everyone's a lot more fluent in the internet, and content creation doesn't have anywhere near the influence that it used to for a minute there. So for a minute there, it was crazy. I could go on forever, but thanks for the question. That's a good one. Certainly the role has changed. Now, that was the role of content creators. I guess that was the story of content creators. As far as media goes, media has always had I would say about a 20% stake in the industry and SHOT Show in general. So while there's like 20,000 or 60,000, depending on the year, attendees, there'll be like 1,000 to 2,000 media show up. And nowadays it's probably closer to 3,000 media because of the stupid internet and stuff. But I would say most of that 1,000 core media are still people taking pictures for books and magazines, like old fashioned, your kind of pictures, like black, like film pictures and shit, not video. And then people writing, like either books or magazines and stuff. And they still walk around and they have a right to exist. And even though most people on the internet dismiss print and any kind of legacy media anymore, legacy media never even, it sort of flinched for a little bit, but it never took a knee. It never paused. Like it has always been a part of SHOT Show. So the media at SHOT Show has always been that 20% stake. It's that 20% of the industry. And as much as media, or I should say internet and YouTube made a big change towards the end here, it was essentially a lot of flash, and it was a lot of fireworks. It was no ordnance. It was just fireworks. It was just a lot of flash and whatnot. Some people made a couple of bucks, who figured out that it was just a bunch of fireworks, but no one really took any damage. Some people took some financial damage, I guess. Some things burned down. But anyway, I don't know if I alluded to that or too much, or if I was specific enough, but I think that was a cool question. Thanks for that. Gun Owners Advocacy and Leadership Summit. I would love it if it was actually that, but it turns out to be an industry event where people off the street just show up to either see celebrity guests and shake their hands and say how much they love their YouTube channel or how good they are, and then the industry to show off their stuff, which is fine. Like we need a place like that. But they call it Gun Owners Advocacy and Leadership. Where's the fucking leadership, period? Like, where's the leadership? And then Gun Owners Advocacy, there's advocates that show up and they are advocates, but we need way more than like 5% of our population to even understand advocacy, let alone, what do we have, 1% that are advocates. Gun ownership requires a certain amount of like understood responsibility, just because we're joining the core of people who decided to take the initiative to be, to own a firearm, I guess. And once you do that, you're participating in the Second Amendment. You're participating in just the, owning a dangerous thing, like any other thing that you choose to participate in owning that's dangerous. And, in that, whatever you want to call like that action that you've undertaken, it would be cool if like part of that was like, let's also make sure that this right doesn't get just, removed. But it's not a requirement, it's not something we have to encourage and foster for ourselves. So I don't know where the heck the leadership or the gun owners advocacy comes from, but I'd certainly like it to be a way bigger piece of it. And I'm not shitting on them. They do a bigger job than anybody else is doing out there. Certainly bigger than that, way bigger with their $50 million a year than the organization that's making $24 million a month. For people that aren't paying attention, Gun Owners America makes maybe $50 million a year, which is a lot of money. But there are other organizations out there making $24 million a month. And I'm not talking about the NRA. They don't make anywhere near that. Let's see. So, thanks. The first goals was 2024, also in 2025. Okay. So goals has only ever been in Knoxville. What was the thing that was in Ohio or Indiana or whatever? Maybe it's the NRA show. Maybe I'm just mixing it up with when the NRA show was places. Let's see. Ron is saying I'd like to do SHOT Show at least once one day. I mean, you can do it. It's not impossible. Certainly ways to do it. Going as media? I don't know. I mean, that's the way I go. But it's not the only way to go for sure. So Barbecue's following up with, how is the role of content creators and media different at SHOT Show and Goals? Well, at SHOT Show, they know what they're doing, and they've done it a million years. They've failed a couple of times, but they understand the media is, like I say, a 20% stakeholder. Now, if you threw NRA in there, from my experience at NRA and from sounding like, or from what I've heard from other people that go to NRA doesn't hardly factor in media. Like they acknowledge it, and they do have a like a system for the people to show up as media, but they're certainly not encouraging it or fostering it, I guess would be the way to say it. They allow it, and they deal with, they're okay with it. But and it's not like they're stifling it. It's just that they don't give it as much as its potential is worth. I don't think they don't give it enough attention or as enough resources as the potential is worth, which I can understand. I guess the NRA was, doing what it's doing. SHOT Show has been around since the 80s, and they've really, since 2005, they've been understanding the internet more and more. And although the internet hasn't been consistent, like it is not possible to just understand the internet. Like for SHOT Show, they may have mastered what happened last year. That has nothing to do with what's going to happen next year. Like the internet changes, or the world changes quite a bit every year. And definitely for the trends and the who's popular and what people give a shit about and what people are watching, there's so many factors there, including the platforms themselves that affect, what for example, when we're not able to show how to take apart a gun anymore, when we go to SHOT Show, why would anybody care about parts? Like that can change in, the whole situation. So SHOT Show has been around long enough. They appreciate and factor in and devote, as much as we bitch about it, they devote more resources to the media than any other organization out there. And because of that, the people that go to SHOT Show understand that the media is there. Like we're not huge. We're not like whatever it is, like 1 out of 16 or 30 people is media, whatever the math is. So it's not like every person they talk to is media, but 1 out of 20 people they talk to is media at SHOT Show. At some of these other events, it's probably more like 1 out of 100 people they talk to is media. So they're definitely more in tune with the media at SHOT Show and that kind of thing. At Goals, I have no idea what the amount of media that shows up. I suspect it's probably like less than 100 or something, like a few hundred maybe. I'd be surprised if it was more than a couple of hundred, because the event itself is tiny and they don't pay for nothing. They're not there's no, there are ways to make money at these things, but most people don't realize that. And even if they understand how to make money, they're not capable of actually making the money or interested in making the money. I mean, capable and making yourself capable, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to talk shit. I'm just saying, like, not everybody is doing this for their I'm trying to say, like, as their job. Most people are just doing this as a thing to do. And in that case, when people are showing up and they're like amateur part-time media, and your event has, like isn't established or whatever, I'm sure that's the big difference between SHOT and Goals, is that Goals is kind of more like seat of your pants. Nobody's stopping you from doing anything, but nobody's helping you to do anything. The media was told when I guess I went to the second, I'm being told I went to the second Goals. I thought I went to the third. But anyway, the second Goals, the media was told to go to this room and like experience this shit that turned out was mandatory. Like we couldn't do anything else. We could either sit on our thumbs in the lobby or be in this room. So being conscripted to listen to 2 hours or 3 hours, or was it 4 hours of like lecture, basically. It was really a sales pitch, like lecture shit. Like that was pretty horrid. Like actually I'd probably be more offended if I wasn't hanging out with people I knew and liked in there. But that part was shitty. So that's actually a good question. How the role of content creators, I mean, to give them credit, Goals is figuring it out, and they don't know what they're doing. Like I say, they don't know what to do, so they're trying different things, and they're having to gauge from feedback and everything. So they're starting off a marathon, and we're watching them stumble a little bit. So I'm not talking shit, I'm just explaining that there is a massive difference. That's actually an interesting question. Now, how many people give a shit about the answer to that question? That's to be debated. GunCon, I don't count GunCon because I've been around too long to count it as a thing. So it exists. How about that? NRA in Indianapolis, I'm definitely thinking of that. I don't remember. Oh, you're saying it's been there in 2014, 19, and 23. So probably 19 or maybe even 14 We had people there, but not me. Do the people that Woods is asking, do the people that work at SHOT kind of shun media because they are not buyers, no commission? That's actually an interesting question. In the early days, they didn't know who we are and they could care less because we were like flies on the wall. They might have not liked us. There were some, and the reason I bring that up is there was some industries, like I'm trying to think, like the AR-556 when that came out from Ruger. I think it was called the AR-556. That was like 2006, I think. I think it was like 2006 when that came out. It came out and they put it in this like mirrored box. Imagine like a Foot Locker looking thing that can hold could hold like a dozen rifles, but they have one rifle in there and it's like a Foot Locker on its side. So it's going to open like a refrigerator or something from the side. It's like a horizontal refrigerator. It's going to open up like a weird casket or something from the side though. And inside it's all mirrors. So there's no way to take a picture of it. And you could see it if you were there in real life, but to take a picture was impossible, especially at the time with the way the cameras worked and stuff, with this mirror all around it and all the lights. And back in the day, SHOT Show was in a building that had windows in it. It was amazing. So there was actually light in the building. So when they opened that box, they were premiering the AR-556. Maybe it was the SR. I think it was the AR-556, or maybe that was SIG. It was SIG. Maybe it wasn't Ruger, but whoever it was that was premiering the AR-556 that year, I think it was SIG. They made a big deal of it, and they would only open the box like once an hour or something for like a couple of minutes, and you could look at it and you couldn't touch it. It was like a big deal. Like it was a big unveiling. So I remember that thing being like an example of like they were so worried about getting pictures taken of their gun because somebody would go to China and make like a airsoft version of it in 5 minutes, and before they could even create a license with some actual toy company, there'd be like the streets would be full of airsoft or something. And then the same with gear. Like if somebody had a new backpack or something, especially a U.S. manufacturer, this is during the global war on terror. So people were actually still making gear. Like somebody figured out breachers need a way to hold shotgun shells over here instead of over there. So somebody would sew something up and they'd make it and it would be cool or something. Like it'd be from a cool company or whatever. And people liked it. And then 5 minutes later, it would be available on the airsoft scene. And sewed all shitty out of cheap nylon. And they just hated that. Like that was the issue back in the early days. So back in those days, it's not that they shunned media. They just didn't like cameras. So the people at SHOT Show could care less about media. We're like in their way. We're like the people that are allowed to be there, but we're in their way. So we're kind of like their little brothers or something, like to the crew at SHOT Show. And I would say that's how they normally are. And then there's been a few years where they hated us and we were like literally like bullied by the staff, but that was only a few years. And the staff at SHOT Show changes almost every other year. So I'm not saying anything about SHOT Show because NSSF, who runs it, they just hire a company to actually put it on. And maybe that company lasts a few years, but usually they run into errors or problems or they can't handle it and they hire a new company. So very rarely are the people I'm talking about at SHOT Show consistent, like except for the actual people at NSSF who run it. Almost everything else at SHOT Show is just somebody hired and out of Las Vegas probably. And they're different every year. And because of that, as soon as you figure that out, you don't care so much because you don't expect it to be consistent. And you're surprised when there is consistency. And there really wasn't consistency other than like the size of the aisles and the kind of some of the general things. You could tell that once this NSSF started paying more attention to the details, there became more like consistency at different levels. So in other words, when they hire people, they gave them bigger rule books than before when they first started. But anyway, the question is, do the people that work at SHOT Show shun the media? Nah, the people that work there, like I say, ignore us. There's some people that work in the SHOT Show, what I should say, in the media room at SHOT Show, and they go back and forth. Like they're usually good. Every once in a while, they're assholes. Like they literally hate their job. They don't want to be there, and they hate us for 4 days, and it shows. But most of the time, like I'd say consistently, they're just okay. They don't mind their job and they're okay with us. But stuff like back in the day, there'd be food. Now there's no food. They don't care. Like they weren't there back in the day. They could care less, and they won't be there next year. So they could care less about something like that. So if you went up and said, hey, do you know how come they don't give us water anymore? And before there used to be water in this room? You're not going to get an actual answer to that because, again, they don't care. They don't know, and they're not going to be there next year. So if you don't ask for something like that from them, it's fine. And if you like, hey, can I get a pen? Like, they'll help you with that immediately. Like, or do you know where this is? They'll show you where it is. Like, they're there to help. It's just that they have no soul. So I wouldn't say that. Well, I'd say they don't shun us, but they don't care that we're not there to buy. Now, if you're talking about the people in the booths, this out of the 60,000 people that attend SHOT Show, I'd say probably 30,000 of them are in a booth and 30,000 of them are walking around, right? So of the 30,000 people that are in a booth that are sitting there for a couple of years, they didn't like media because we were annoying and we didn't sell them anything or buy anything from them probably. But they pretty much are all not stupid. They're capitalists. They know that if they give us one thing, that we can take pictures of it and help them sell 5 things. So there's that, right? No commission from the media. Like I say, that's changed so much because for a number of years there, I would say 13 to 15 was the glory days of YouTubers. They were making like $1 million. I'm pretty sure it was 2015 when I was told, the first time I was told from a friend of mine that he made $1 million at SHOT Show that year. And that he was kind of poking me like, dude, what are you doing? Like, I made $1 million this year. Why didn't you make more money? I didn't make anywhere near that. I was probably losing money even being there. That was the first year I realized that there was that kind of money flowing. And that was just somebody I knew, but you know what I mean? There's tons of people I don't know that are making more money than that probably for a little while. And then the industry went, hold on, we didn't get anything near our return on $1 million. So, and it's not like anybody paid $1 million, but if you get a whole bunch of $200,000 contracts, then you make $1 million, right? So those companies were probably like, wow, we just spent $200,000 and we didn't get what we expected from it. So for the years after that, I would say 17 to 19 or something like that, you might as well have just painted asshole on your face if you were from YouTube. Like, they didn't want to talk to you and nobody wanted to talk to you. If you were a regular, the YouTuber that walks up with their hand out like, hey, I'm from YouTube. How much money do you got to pay me? So it kind of fluctuates. And then for the most part, they're either indifferent or willing to push someone out of the way so that, the cameras can roll. And then last number of years, I would say since 20, actually before that even, I keep saying as an example, like a lot of the booths, not even a few of the booths, like a lot of the booths just have a portion of their booth which is designed to be a place where they, like a little studio where they're going to stand there. They intend to stand there with whoever it is from media walking by who wants to film with them, so that they have what they want, a consistent background, their logo, all their new products within reach, probably sometimes on display, like in the shot. Like, they are, in other words, the companies are framing the interview so that there's some consistency and they get their actual products in there so that, they learn year after year. Like, I shouldn't need to reach over or depend on so-and-so to hand me the product when we could just rearrange the booth and I could just do all the interviews right here with all the new products within reach and have all the new products in the scene, the whole time. And once they figure that kind of stuff out, we're no longer a liability. Then it's like, wow, I just spent $20,000 for this 10 by 10 booth or something, or whatever the rates are now. And I just spent, 3 or 4 square feet of my 10 by 10 booth creating a little studio to have these conversations with media. Like, you kind of hope the media shows up at that point. Like, you're invested in the media showing up. So I think that's a good question too. I think Ron Wayne liked it as well. Gizzard says, nothing has been announced for TriggerCon this year. After last year was canceled, it may be finished. The website domain is gone. That's what I was going to say. TriggerCon, I had higher hopes for since it was in Kansas. That sounds like a little better situation than some of the other ones. But I did, when I did ask my robots to fill out this list that we're looking at right now, actually, that we started this whole thing about, and TriggerCon was on that list, and I was all excited. And then when I went to look, yeah, it was just the robot making shit up. Just seeing that it happened before and extrapolating, but it actually, I don't think there is a TriggerCon anymore. And it's unfortunately not the first or the last of the shooting events to come and go. Even the biggest one, well, for a while, the biggest one was, what can I think of? Knob Creek in Kentucky, they had a machine gun shoot for decades. Now the one in Arizona is bigger, has been going on longer, and is still going on. But people in Kentucky want to act like they had the biggest one for a while. And they did. They had a really big one for a while. We just have a bigger one here in Arizona. But the things do come and go. And appreciate what we've got while we've got it. Participate when you are able. And don't forget those memories, because some of us are the only things that exist to remember some of the stuff that happened, like gun shows. Remember gun shows when we were kids? How awesome would it be to have that world again? Let's see. Gizzard says, I was at the 2023 NRA at Indy. That's where he met Ozzy. Right on. I've heard that there are no barbecue guns, just barbecue holsters. Let's see. Weird way to hype a rifle or protect your asset, like make up your mind. I don't know what I was saying, but okay. What is your favorite memory of any SHOT Show ever? The best SHOT Show was SHOT Show 2008. And that was the SHOT Show that was the last one at the convention center. And the favorite memory, man, I don't even know. That was just such a fun year. I think that whole year was just amazing. Oh, favorite would probably be when I figured out at some point that I wanted to get a consistent background at home. When I was not at SHOT Show, I would use like a piece of camouflage and is like a background when I was taking pictures of guns at the gun shop. And I had not thought to bring something like that with me. So as I was running around SHOT Show taking all these videos and pictures and stuff, this would have been videos by now. I was taking videos and shit. Wait, this was pictures still. As I was taking pictures, I was noticing that, you put a gun, you put it on top of a glass cabinet with like 3 glass shelves under it full of shit. Like you're looking at garbage. Like you can't tell what the hell you're looking at. It's just a bunch of shiny reflections and stuff. So I knew I wanted to get a piece of fabric and I wanted camo. So I went over to the Cry booth. Cry Precision is the people that make camo, multicam, and asked them if they had any multicam I could use. And the dude was like, I think he said something like, wait, I'm trying to remember. Did he say come back? I feel like he said come back and I'll find out. And I did come back and he was like, yeah, it turns out we were going to wrap a column with multicam, but then we got a booth without a column in it. So we brought all this and we don't need it. So he just cut me off this giant chunk. Like, I think it's like maybe 500 denier multicam, and having multicam from Caleb didn't give it to me, but the other dude did. So, and that was back in the day when Caleb would be hanging out and shit. So anyway, that was probably the coolest thing. And then I still have that piece of multicam. Like I use that anytime you see anything with multicam behind it, it's that piece of multicam. But the rest of that show was just freaking amazing, dude. Like that was just a fun show. I think there was 3 of us there. Man, I'm just swarming of memories. That was the last show at the Real Convention Center where there was like windows. So there was like light. You guys ever seen a picture of SHOT Show? It looks like the whole thing looks like it's underground, because there's other convention center, the Sands where we have it now, is just concrete walls, period. There's just lights. There's no natural light at all. And there's no doors or anything, because the doors where everybody smokes, they always talk about smoke and everything, are like underground. Like the ground level at the Sands is the 2nd floor. So to get to the basement that they call it, the 1st floor of Sands is the basement, because you literally drive down into like a pit, and like we call it, what do you call like the entrance where the buses and cabs pick you up? I guess the entrance is like underground, really. So, and it's not like some buildings that are built on a hill. It's just like literally dug a big hole to put the entrance in. So the buses and shit have to drive down a hole, drive down a ramp to pick you up, and then they drive back out of the hole to get you out. So anyway, it's just a dinkier, what's the word? Like it's just a dimmer SHOT Show than it ever has been, than it ever was. And it was also, SHOT Show used to go different every year. You'd kind of have to wait and find out where SHOT Show was going to be next year. And that was the last year that ever happened. It was just at the same place from then on. And it was shitty. It was just lame. Because you have to, before going to SHOT Show was an adventure. You'd have to figure out where everything was, because it was different. The layout was completely different. Like they kind of put police in the same place. They kind of put hunting. They did put airsoft by itself. Like airsoft was always by itself. And for a long time they kept like the clothes, like the materials and the like buckles and the rivets and shit, like all that just stuff that you need to make gear. That stuff would be by itself for a while. But aside from that, like you had to go figure out where everything was at SHOT Show. So like the first day or two of SHOT Show, you're just trying to figure everything out. And now, I mean, for a number of years there, I could walk with my eyes closed and walk to booths. I knew where everything was in SHOT Show for forever. For like a long time, I knew where everything was. It's changing now because companies ditched out and they've got a new building and stuff. But anyway, let's see. He met folks in the booth, and that's when, yeah, I think I figured it out at some point. I think I got that one right. Dale's out there. Welcome. Everybody's saying hello. Wait until Kentucky has Wayne's World hosted by Ron and Misty. Oh, I didn't realize they're going to have an event starting up. Let's see. Ozzy says he was at NRA in 19 and 23. So I went to NRA in 9 and 10, and then I quit going. You know, one of the reasons I quit going? In 9, I'm still traumatized by this. I was minding my own business, just 4 years into this game, right? Trying to share guns with the world on the internet. It was a new thing at the time. And I was here. I'm going to open up a map. We'll take a little adventure because I can show you exactly where this happened, I think. All right, so this is the Google. And I'll put this over like this. Am I still screen sharing? Yeah. So this is the Google. And I went up to Phoenix. This is Tucson. This group of bubbles is Phoenix. And it was at this place in downtown Phoenix, which I don't know what it's called, so I have to go find it. So you drive up here, you drive around the airport, and then downtown Phoenix is like here. And then in downtown Phoenix, there's some kind of building. Is it this? I think it's this. Whatever this thing is. No, it's not that. Is that the convention center? That's some kind of baseball field or something. I think it's this maybe. It's probably this. So this is the convention center. And I parked back then. I think I parked over here somewhere. I think it was a parking garage over here. So I'm walking into the event, and you got to walk past all this garbage and shit. And then you walk down underneath of here. And then in here somewhere, there's some stairs down into the event. You can imagine the event's in here. And this is, you know, like I walked over here. You could probably come in over here or whatever, but I came in from over here. So it was right underneath of these air conditioning units, right? And I walked in and experienced the show, and I was having a good time, right? I was a young, wide-eyed content creator back in the day, going to my first NRA show. And honestly, it was eye-opening because I was like, wow, this is just like SHOT Show. I thought these were tiny, and this was big. It was just like SHOT Show. So I'm all excited. I'm full of ambition and trying to share this with the world. I got all these digital pictures. Back in the day, you'd have to go home and put them on the computer and edit them and everything and put watermarks on them and then get them up onto 9. It would have still been forums back in 2009. Internet, YouTube was just barely a thing yet. So it was still just a forum thing, right? So here's me. I'm leaving the event and I'm walking. I wonder if there's a way to get inside of here. Let's see if there's a way. You can use this little yellow guy to go inside of places sometimes. Oh, look at this. Look at this. This is it. This is it. Here's the down escalator. Oh, look at, can we walk over here? So here's the main floor. There's some down escalators that can take me down somewhere. So that's where I was. I was coming out of here. This isn't quite where I was. I can't figure out how to walk around in here, but you get the idea. I'm just minding my business in this building. And except I'm downstairs, coming out of here, and then I'd have to go upstairs to get to ground level, and I come over here to get to my car. So I'm walking out of this doors. Let me see if I can come in over here. Nope. Lame. Do you think there'd be a way to show inside of this building? Anyway, I was about to leave the building to go to these up escalators and leave the building. And then it happened. I could feel an evil presence, you know, like if you're in one of these movies with swords and stuff and dragons and the evil sorcerer, you know, like all the birds stop chirping and you can just tell there's evil in the air. So I'm standing there minding my business, about to walk through these doors, and I'm physically mauled. I'm grabbed and manhandled and smashed against the wall. And I'm not a little guy. I'm a normal size, maybe even a little bit bigger than normal. I'm grabbed, manhandled, hands on me, smashed against the wall. And I didn't know what was going on. I was more than startled. I was offended, and I was physically damaged, emotionally damaged also. And what was it for? Why was I physically manhandled and smashed against the wall? So that His Majesty, what the hell is that guy's name? Ted Nugent and his entourage of bullies and assholes could walk through the doors. They had to have both doors open, and he has like bullies, this like ring of bullies around him, like 8 dudes that are probably criminals for all I know. And one of them smashed me against the wall. Like I'm trying to walk through a door to leave an NRA show, and I'm smashed against the wall by some asshole, some thug. And then these other 8 thugs or whatever are walking around this asshole. They open the door for him. He doesn't even look over to be like, get out of my way, asshole, or anything. He just keeps walking. I think he wasn't even on a phone or nothing. Somebody wants to talk to him. And then he like slowly, lazily walked up and out of the escalator and out the door or whatever. And I was a wreck. I was just left there damaged physically, emotionally, just left there as a victim. And everybody goes, oh, Ted Nugent's such a good guy. Fuck Ted Nugent. I don't like that guy. So that's one of the reasons I'm so traumatized when I think about going to an NRA show. I use that as my reasoning for why I don't have to go to NRA shows anymore. A lot of people weren't subjected to that kind of abuse. Sorry, I should have given some warning, a spoiler alert before that the a-hole Ted Nugent was going to be exposed for what he actually is. So anyway, I don't know why that guy thinks he's so good, but that was in 2009. And he's like, what the hell? I got to get through the door before that guy. Like, you go smash him against the wall so that you guys go open the door so I can go through the door first. And it wasn't like there was anybody else around. There was nobody around. And I wasn't like taking pictures of him. I don't give a shit about the guy. I knew a friend of mine met him at a bar or something. So I think I knew who he was. I could tell that he was somebody, but I wasn't like trying to take a picture of him or nothing. So anyway, that's my traumatic story of what happened to me at NRA show. Wood's already heard that story, I guess. Whatever. I'm not going to let that guy continue to just bully everybody out there. Nobody's going to talk about it. The Hart Sisters security got your ass whooped? Dang. I'd rather get beat by the Hart Sisters security than loser Ted Nugent. It wasn't a nightmare. I really didn't care. But I certainly don't like Ted Nugent, and I don't stand for anybody playing Ted Nugent shit around me, because he only has like 2 songs. But he also gets like this rap like he's somehow the best gun person or whatever. Like, nah, he's not. He's just hanging out, whooping it up, exploiting guns, using them as a prop. Because he's also into bow hunting. That's what he likes more. So guns are just a prop for him. Definitely wasn't pleasant. And it exposed the reality of the music industry to me. Now I know what it's like on the harsh streets of the music industry. Anyway, so now we've definitely talked about a lot of topics. We're 2 hours in. I guess I should probably go do real work. But yeah, the idea is to have a conversation about real gun stuff. So we may have talked adjacent to guns a little bit around here tonight. But guess what? It's back and forth. So you bring some gun questions. I'll bring some gun answers. Bring some topics, and we'll explore them as a group. We'll get some guests on here and have some interviews and that kind of stuff. And we'll, of course, continue to ban the Nuge because of his bulliness and his being an assholeness. But with that, I guess we'll wrap this one up. Thanks for joining, and be part of the show. You can comment, you can be part of it, and give us some direction if you have a topic. Tomorrow, let's see, Brooke Cheney will have a show. She may have it tomorrow, may not. She might be doing something this weekend, but usually on Saturdays, Brooke has a show that has been going on for a number of years now with a consistent focus on mental health. It's called Mental Health Matters. It used to be called Suicide Prevention Saturday. The idea was that when you look at the number of deaths with firearms, 2/3 of that, so 6 out of 10 2/3 of that number is suicides. Now, the anti-rights, people that hate our property and hate us, will use the full number and will suggest the only way to deal with that, complete number of deaths is to remove all firearms. That's the only way they see it. However, no one takes a moment to challenge their concept or their suggestion and ask why they don't have any alternative, any answer, any plan to address the 6 out of 10 deaths that are suicides. And we all know that that's probably mostly gun owners. Not too many people, or not enough of that number to be as statistics, are people that just find a gun laying on the ground. So these are gun owners. These are people that are in our community. So we have all the reason, all the incentive to affect change there, and we haven't done enough. So one of the things that Brooke has done is have a show every Saturday to talk about these things. And first, there's just breaching the subject in general. It's uncomfortable and it's not typical. So it's a conversation that can be difficult, or again, uncomfortable for people to have. So by having the intentional conversation each week, it makes it possible to even approach the conversation, or approach the topic, I should say. And if you pay any attention to the show, if you join in or just listen on any regular basis, you'll be more comfortable with the topics. And again, it's an effort towards affecting change there. Obviously, no single thing is going to affect that, but there is no one else that's putting this much effort into it on a weekly basis. So DJ's putting a link there. You can check out her channel. It's called A Great Shooting School. She's a shooting instructor, as her 9 to 5. And then on Saturday, she does this as her passion project. I don't know if that's what you'd call it, but her project that she does out of interest rather than industry. People trying to justify the bully. That's fine. You can do that if you want. Let's see. And then everybody's saying happy Independence Day. Remember that tomorrow is the 250th. If you forgot, you'll probably hear some fireworks at some point. I'm actually surprised there haven't been more going off tonight. Let's see. I'm not clicking on any of these because I'm not promoting a bully, but I will promote Brooke's show, and then we'll chat with y'all probably tomorrow at if Tony's got some time. It is the 4th, so he might be doing something. Anyway, we'll see y'all later.